Okay. Check. Making sure the mic is okay. Don't know why it turned off today. Very strange, but we're trying. All right. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's shit. What is today? It's Wednesday. Yeah, still Wednesday. Trying to keep track. I've been traveling through time since the last we spoke. Both trying to change my travel situation around and just like juggling that nonsense. And on top of that, of course, trying to, why is the overhead light on again? Because I was working, that's why. And that's okay. That's okay. Mike is okay. I should just check. You know what? I'm going to wait. And I don't know how, let's see, I can't wait in silence and check to see if the mic is gotta be I gotta be free. I gotta be me. I've gotta learn a thing or two about how these mic things are working. How you doing? All right, let's do this. Sexy pants. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. Good stuff. All right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Kath. Okay, we're all right. Mike is good. There we go. 3 and the 2 and the half and the 1. Mic check. Mic check. Right on. Okay, good. Whew. What's the strap I'm wearing? It's to correct my posture since I screwed up my shoulder and make sure that it doesn't impinge on the nerve because I have thoracic impingement syndrome from the injury. That is. So it's to keep the nerve from getting pinched by my clavicle against my rib cage, which is expanding at too fast a rate. Because never mind, it's a long conversation. All you need to know is I'm doing well, and I'm taking baby step therapeutic efforts to keep myself healthy instead of going under the knife or something like that. Not that that's a thing. I don't know. There's no real knife for this, but there could be if you just let it go. So, yeah. And speaking of someone who, let's see, has apparently just let it go. Can I just say, may I join me, kids? And by the way, if you're in here early, and I love you for it. We've already hit the 666 super chat line. So if you feel like that, super chat. If you're feeling like that, super chat. I'll figure out a way to make that rhyme normally in the future. Little $5 challenge during the show today. See if you can throw in $5 and help the show out near the end of the year. I'm just saying, it's just a thing. We're getting near the end of the month, and that means we're getting near the beginning of the month. So if you can help out, that'd be lovely. Now, that said, oftentimes, if you hit like, also, it lets people know we're on the air that might not know otherwise. So, Flapper Show is tomorrow night. It was tonight, but it is tomorrow night. They called me to reschedule it, and I forgot. And so, luckily, I remembered before I got in my car and wore myself out yet again. But there you have it. Okay. Boston Brian's with us. What's happening? Salute to Boston Brian, everybody. Follow him, patreon.com/Boston Brian. There you go. So, now, I have a running theory that there is we're all familiar with the resistance, the hashtag resistance, which was really beaten to fucking death during the Trump years. So much so that when they made a Dark Crystal and a Star Wars addendum series, they used resistance in the title. And to those people, I would say, I love you. I see what you're trying to do, but fucking stop it. Don't try to attract audience that way. It doesn't work. And all it does is back you into a corner in your storylines, and it's just stupid. So quit that. Now, that said, there seems to be a true resistance. No, I would not call Antifa resistance. Unfortunately, Antifa in a lot of its forms, especially it's kind of like Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter as a hashtag, as a thought, as an idea, fantastic. As an organization, Antifa as a thought, as anti-fascist and the like. If you have to shorten anti-fascist and you're afraid to say the word fascist, then somehow you're not doing the job or you're afraid to do the job. And also as an organization, there you go. So, that just saying for the record. Again, it's a disorganization, so I don't quite know whatever. The reality that anybody can call themselves a member is kind of means it's not an organization. But that's another story for another time. We'll discuss that one day. So I do believe there is an underground in the United States. I do believe that there is a true resistance that is under the is operating in secret inside the bowels of the Death Star, as it were. And I really do believe that most of those people, they're not on the streets wearing black bloc and throwing cans of soup. No. Which is cans of soup, not Kansas soup, which is, I guess wouldn't make it, because that comes in bags, big bags of soup. That these folks work at right-wing news agencies, most of them. And their acts of resistance are very subtle and quite charming. And I'll give you a quick example right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a Newsmax story about the Hunter Biden testimony that we're going to cover tonight. But this is the thumbnail that the folks at Newsmax made of this stuff. Of Jamie Comer being on their show. This is what they made. This is the thumbnail they threw together. And they, again, they could have taken any still from this dipshit visiting them, and they could have found, God knows, we've seen the shot of Hunter Biden smoking in a bathtub, or standing in a denim vest in underwear. I think it was actually white shorts tucked up, so that's why it looks funny. Tucked up like that, and he's like smoking and doing he's being funny actually. They could have picked one of those. There are plenty of them around. He even, again, maybe it's because of crack, maybe it's just because of vanity, maybe it's because he had bad issues with his teeth, soft dental material in his face that eventually just his teeth didn't hang up or hold up under the stress. But he's got a brand new set of choppers there. And man, it's like they put a fucking filter on him. He's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. It's a pretty young-looking. It's not a young picture of him. It's recent, relatively recent, but he looks pretty good there. That's a pretty good picture of Hunter right there. I gotta say, if you're just gonna breeze through and find one, there it is. If you're going through a piece of video and you're snagging a still to be used, that's a pretty good one. He looks lively and healthy and happy and like I said, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Meanwhile, may I introduce you to the picture that someone, apropos of fucking nothing, chose of Jamie Comer. Now, I'm sure in his bullshittery, this might have been the best picture they could have found of him from the stills of this. But at the very least, at the opening, he has to at least have some sort of a dumbass Devin Nunes smile that they could have grabbed. But I simply am under the... I believe personally that someone at Newsmax fucking hates this twerp and more than likely can't stand whoever the host is. Now, I have not pre-watched this video. I'm watching it for the first time with you. And this is Comer threatening Hunter Biden with the same punishment Jim Jordan will get. Maybe. If he doesn't honor his subpoena. Anyways. Comer. If he no-shows, Hunter will be held in contempt of Congress. Oof. Oh, bam. Oh, shit. Here it comes. Let's do this.
Where the argument is what Joe Biden's level of involvement was. Now, we want to ask Hunter Biden about that. And
yeah, because why would you want to ask him about it? I'm being completely honest. Why would you want to ask him about that? I'll tell you why. Because you don't fucking know. You're on a fishing expedition.
You cannot do that in a committee setting.
Okay.
You can't ask him things in a committee setting. You can't do it. We are incapable. Okay, and again, I might have, there might be a bit of mea culpa on my part at some point, but if these are the kind of freeze frames I'm coming up with, they might have honestly chosen the best one they could possibly find. Again, also, they decide to pick the picture of Hunter where he looks like a frontiersman in the Old West. Like, all he needs is a fucking cowboy hat. Yeah.
So how long do you expect that? All right. First of all, do you think that's where this is going? Because
back that up. Hold on one second, if I may, ladies and gentlemen. This is look again. I was wrong. I was wrong. There are not better pictures that you can grab. Every still frame you can ever grab of Jamie Comer, he looks like an asshole. It's just not. I'm not doing this on purpose. This is all made. I mean, obviously, she looks fantastic. A little too much contour on the cheeks, little skeletal, if you ask me, but otherwise all right. He looks like drunk and like he's ordering one after last call. But Jamie Comer looks like he's just been told that the manager is not here. He's allowed to speak to the assistant manager, but he's going to have to do it off property. Okay, here we go. This is
how long do you expect that? All right. First of all, do you think that's where this is going? Because Abby Lowell, Hunter Biden's attorney,
is basically again. Look at that total freeze. And maybe it's just because he said Abby Lowell. In all fairness,
Bob Menendez off, represented Jared Kushner. He's a heck of an attorney, well respected down in D.C. He knows what he's doing.
He worked with Jared Kushner. That's scary. Again, what the fuck? Every single one. All right.
Are you expecting Hunter Biden to no-show testifying in private?
I wouldn't recommend that if I were Hunter Biden.
But is that what you're expecting? Are you?
You wouldn't recommend it if you were Hunter Biden. You mean if you were Hunter Biden's lawyer, you wouldn't recommend it to him? I suppose Hunter may talk to himself. Maybe that's the way he works shit out. I have been known to do that. I have been known to talk to myself out loud when I need to work out certain things because I feel like the vocal dialogue helps rather than just sit silently. And yes, sometimes my neighbors think I'm crazy, but I don't care. But every fucking freeze frame. All right.
You and your team on oversight expecting that to happen.
We expect Hunter Biden to show on December 13th for a deposition.
Okay, if he doesn't, and this is a big question, and we went through this with Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
You mean when Steve Bannon didn't show?
How long does the process take? Because you're on the clock now. We've got 11 months to go until the election. And part of the arithmetic here on Hunter's team's part could be...
there you go. You could have froze that one. He looks like he's slightly smiling.
Run out the clock.
Well, that's what their strategy is, to run out the clock, to obstruct. That's what they've done to us the entire 8 months. We've had to fight every battle to get every ounce of information pertaining to the crimes the Biden.
Hold on. Information is not evidence. I think we've made that distinct difference a few times. Yeah.
Family's committed. If it weren't for the House Oversight Committee, nobody would know anything.
Yes. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. Just knowing that Biden loaned his brother money and he paid him back, that's not anything. No one gives a fuck.
About all the schemes that the Biden family did with...
Oh, the schemes. I didn't realize. Yes, it's true. The scheming.
With our enemies around the world. Jim Jordan and I talked to...
And by the way, when he says our enemies around the world, he's not talking about America's enemies. He's talking about the Republican enemies, I guess. Like our allies in Europe, I suppose.
Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, last night on the House floor. And we were talking about this. And
were you?
Mike Johnson...
Again, somebody at Newsmax is fucking with this asshole. Look at Joe holding his grandkid. There's Hunter, healthy, young, pre-addiction. Or maybe early addiction. Yeah.
Has our back if Hunter Biden does not comply with the legal subpoena that we issued to him, then we...
Sorry, I was just trying to get a freeze to see if we could get a presentable one.
We will take steps to hold him in contempt of Congress.
You will take steps to hold him in contempt of Congress, which means... Mike Johnson will have to have a vote on it, and you don't have the votes to do it. Good luck, especially amongst all the Republicans who are afraid that when Trump loses next time, and they need Congress continues to go after Trump for the shit he did before, like when January 6th was shut down because of the change in control of the House, that they'll subpoena Don Jr. and Eric and Ivanka and force them to do the same testifying, and they'll call it a witch hunt and blah, blah, blah.
Just to circle back, you said you have hundreds of questions, as many of us do, for Hunter Biden. So
sure, yeah. I don't know why they have hundreds of questions. I think, wouldn't you, if you got all the evidence you have, apparently, wouldn't you just point to something and not say, like, I guess it's one question. Do you recognize that? Is that your handwriting? Those kind of things. It's like 8 or 10 questions. Unless you're like Jamie Comer, and then you're like, one of your questions is, are you my mother?
Where do you begin? Where do you start with the line of questioning?
Yeah, where do you start? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got all the bank transactions. We'll just go down the line.
Oh, you have all of them. Oh, that's good news. All right. Well, there we go. They've got all the bank transactions. They've got all of them. Well, all right. Well, there you go. And he's just going to go through them.
We have a very long spreadsheet of transactions, some of them $100,000 transactions, some of them $1 million transactions. We want to know why the Bidens received this wire from our enemy in this country. Why did the Bidens receive?
What, they're enemies in this country? Now we're talking about American enemies that have wired the Bidens? Hang on. Did Ashley Babbitt wire something to the Bidens? Inquiring minds want to know.
That wire from our enemy in that country.
Yeah.
And we want to know what Joe Biden's involvement was. What did they get in return?
Fuck you. If they didn't get anything in return, or you don't know they got anything in return, it doesn't even matter that the money flowed one way, you dumb fuck. We've dealt with this a bunch. Jesus Christ.
Country.
Yeah.
And we want to know what Joe Biden's involvement was.
We want to know what Joe Biden's involvement was, and they
get in return.
And what did they get in return? Say what again? Say what again, motherfucker? Say what again? Ask what they... You don't fucking know already? The fuck are you talking... Why? Why don't you know already? You can't have bribery unless the person did something for the bribe. Otherwise, it's just a gift. What the fuck?
We don't believe that these people sent the Bidens nearly $30 million just because they liked the Bidens. We believe they expected to get something in return.
And what would that be?
And I don't know for the life of me what Hunter Biden could provide them of value.
Right.
But Joe Biden could provide a lot in value. And this is an investigation of Joe.
Oh, okay. So in CEFC, he was actually part of the deal for them to try and buy this natural gas facility. And in terms of working for Burisma, he and Devin Archer and all the other guys at Rosemont Seneca were investment shepherds, essentially. They made sure the money was spent the way it was supposed to be spent. They didn't get that money. They got paid money to watch that money or to guide that money through the process. Again, you'll be familiar with, what was the name of that company again?
Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
No, they don't.
Biden, not Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is a key witness in our investigation of Joe Biden.
Why? Why? Why is he a key witness? Witness of what? What did he witness? If you don't know what the policy change was and you're in fucking government, how the fuck would he know? He didn't even know what the money was to buy off. Is that your... So he's supposed to corral all this cash, get it to Joe Biden, and in exchange for that money, Joe Biden's supposed to change some fucking policy or go against the wants or needs of the United States, and you can't figure out what the fuck it is. Why would Hunter know?
That's why we have to do the deposition, and we will gladly provide a public forum for Hunter Biden to testify in front of the world in a committee setting after the deposition, because
of course,
we have a lot of specific questions. We've spent too much time compiling.
Like what? You have a lot of specific questions. Ask one of them right now, just to give them an idea. They both want to know. She asked, what would be the first step in the questions that you would ask him? Well, I I don't know about you, audience, chat room, real quick. Wouldn't you just fucking prattle off like 5 questions that are like that? You know what I mean? If somebody asked you that, I'd go, where were you on the night in question? At what time did you catch the bus? Have you ever owned or held a .45 automatic? And do you ever discharge a firearm in the vicinity of 1217 Tompkins Street and near the corner of 42nd Avenue? Have you, do you own a fedora? And if so, why have you not presented it, as there was a witness that said they saw a man in a bloody fedora and he wasn't British running by the scene? And of course, what's your shoe size? Because we have imprints in the ground, right? You see what I mean? Like if you had a crime and an evidence and you actually had the crime, you'd go, these are my first 5. Kind of obvious.
All of this evidence to squander it.
No, and Congressman, we get that.
What? Wait. Hold on. Back the fuck up. All this, how can you squander evidence? Wait.
This evidence.
Back it up. Hold on. He's got to say the whole thing.
Specific questions. We've spent too much time compiling all of this evidence to squander it.
No, and Congressman, we get that. He has
to squander it. How do you squander evidence? She's falling asleep. And this guy's irritated because both of them are like, we got this dumb motherfucker again. Like this asshole was hoisted on this Newsmax show. The rest of them like, wake up, America. Okay, go back to sleep. It's nothing. It's like a California earthquake. To everybody else, like, oh my God, earthquake in California. But if you're from California, it was a 3.5, and you're like, I slept through it. I don't know what the fuck you're up to. This is a 2.1. And how do you do it? How do you squander evidence? Isn't evidence permanent? Wow.
Just like anybody else in this country, if you're an American citizen, you got to comply with a subpoena. You don't.
Yeah, tell that to Jim Jordan. Fuck are you talking about? Tell that to Steve Bannon. Tell that to Trump himself.
Set the rules. Hunter Biden has been above the fray his entire life. Why
above the fray? Above the fray?
Why would he change president now? You're going to try.
Why would he change president now? I mean, precedent, also above the fray. What the fuck are you talking about?
I put an end to that. Have you thought about why he wants to testify publicly? You know, he seems really confident. Is that just?
Yeah. Is it because? And work with me. I'm not saying this. I'm saying this might be what they're thinking. Is there an off chance that you might be a fucking dumbass and you've suckered all of us into a yard full of rakes, and we're wearing clown shoes, and he's going to make us all look stupid while he slaps you in the face with his dick, which is sizable according to video evidence that she tells me about all the time. Is that just, I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this. She said it a couple times. I'm not saying this, but people in general, is that the feeling?
Just a show?
Well,
is it just a show? Yes, he's going to show America what an asshole Jamie Comer is.
You've got the Democrats on the committee. You got Jamie Raskin. You got Dan Goldman. I mean, they have, for all practical purposes, served as the criminal defense attorneys for the Biden family throughout this whole investigation.
Well, I mean, and for free, and it didn't even take work. I mean, they don't have to be. They're not even have to do any real research. I mean, they're just making you look like assholes based on available information in the press.
We can't do anything together in this committee because of the obstruction that the Democrats on the House
Okay.
Oversight Committee are providing. So he knows if he comes in front of a committee, you're going to have Dan Goldman do like he did during the impeachment inquiry hearing when he filed 4 or 5 motions to adjourn during the hearing. I mean, they do things to disrupt.
Congressman, I don't mean to cut you off. We're totally out of time. But
I mean, you were getting to a really good point where you didn't have one. So I mean, I could talk to you. She's sick of your shit, but I could talk to you all day. And I gotta say, man, this is fascinating. So run that by me again. So if he speaks in public and there's equal time, Democrat and Republican, to ask him questions, Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin by themselves will apparently ask questions in their 5 minutes that will completely curb stomp your entire committee hearing. Am I mishearing this, or?
Just, I assume that you are aware that that 4-year-old little girl, Abigail, who was released, the only American hostage released from Gaza thus.
No, the first people released, the first 2 women released were both Americans.
Far. Her great aunt, Elizabeth, is a Democratic donor. She also apparently bought a piece of Hunter Biden's artwork. Are you aware of this?
Very aware.
And then she was appointed to a diplomatic position within the administration.
Yeah, we should have left her. Fuck that. If I was the other Americans in there, I would buy some art. Also, by the way, she's fucking 4. What do you think, they would have left her if she was a Trump grandchild, you fucking tool? She's 4. The rest of her family are dead. Her parents were killed in front of her. Are you out of your fucking mind? The only other Americans there are people with dual citizenship who are adults, healthy adults, not children and not elderly, by all reports. She was the last American child in captivity. She was the last one out. Other American children got out earlier. A younger daughter, one of the first. Good Lord.
You think that's just some wild coincidence, Congressman, in about 20 seconds?
That a Jewish person in Israel, whose kids live in Israel, they died, and their daughter was kidnapped at 4 years old, and her siblings hid in a closet for 14 fucking hours, completely silent. She ran to somebody else's house. Everybody there was killed. 4 years old. The assumption here isn't, do you think they did a favor to get this 4-year-old out from Hamas? The weird, I guess, sub-question is that somehow if she was a conservative person's child, she would have been left behind?
Well, we want to find out. She's one of the people that we've sent a letter requesting to come in for an interview. We're very concerned about the artwork. We know of 2 people who
holy shit
who have purchased the artwork from Hunter Biden, and both would be ethics violations, in my opinion.
In your opinion? Don't. In your opinion? In your opinion. Don't.
Joe Biden.
Okay.
These were people that received things of value. So we want to ask.
Their 4-year-old hostage back? Is that what they received of value?
A lot of questions to Hunter about his artwork, and
Here's a quick question. I have a question about Yi Jianming, the lead guy on CEFC's purchases in the United States, buying a Trump apartment for a condo for $5 million in Trump World Tower, never setting foot in it, leaving it empty, but buying it for $5 million. That you don't have a question about that at all? And we know what the deal that he was involved in with Hunter Biden was, and we know that the money that Hunter Biden got in that deal was his percentage of making that deal go through. And since it didn't, he got a slice of the fuck you money, and that was that. Basically the money held in retainer. He got a piece of that. Rob Walker got the most, but Hunter got his legal fees and a small slice. Trump just kept the whole $5 million.
can't do that just in a committee setting.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do what in a committee setting? He can't bring Hunter in and ask him, did you sell a piece of artwork in exchange for freeing a 4-year-old?
To Hunter about his artwork, and you can't do that just in a committee setting.
Why? Why? What are the myriad of answers he could give? What questions do you have? Are you selling to launder money? Is this? Do you know who all the buyers are? Can you give us a list of all the buyers? No. Like, it's an investment for some people, and people are buying this because they buy the artwork of. I mean, ask George W. Bush about this shit. There are people who pay for this stuff, and I've got one of Hunter Biden's paintings. Holy fuck. I paid $200,000 for it. There it is. Like, they laugh about it. It's right next to the George W. Bush fucking dog painting he painted in the fucking bathtub. Oh my God. Now, if I may, and I think that I might, don't forget, hit a like. Give me a like in the chat right now if you haven't already. In case the show, of course, breaks down and we have to restart again, and it'd be nice to have all the numbers up there and stuff. Just hit that like while you're at it. I appreciate it. I'll wait. All right, now, the Hunter Biden subpoena. If they do, people do like me. Thanks, Gino. I think so. I mean, I try to be likable, without crossing over into an area where my ethics are, where I toss my ethics aside. I'm not going to do that just to be liked. That's crazy pants. Aw, thanks, Patrick. Now the question is, after all this stuff, they've got this subpoena. It's coming. It's the 13th. We'll see this big fight about it. Whether it'll be closed door. By the way, I think Hunter's going to show up for the closed door deposition. He will show up with his attorneys, and they'll film it as well as insist that it be filmed. All that kind of stuff. Just telling you. Just letting you know. Just keep that in mind. Now, yeah, share the stream. That's a good idea too. Got to share the stream. It'll be a scream at the stream. All right. But it hasn't even happened yet. And what do we got from Gorka? Apparently, this is, look at the title of this fucker. Gorka. Does the Hunter Biden subpoena even matter now? This is Kash Patel and Gorka. One-on-one, because nobody else wants to be in the same room with these dumb fucks. Gorka. Gorka. Does the Hunter Biden subpoena even matter now? All right, I can't wait to hear this argument. Gorka.
I know Sebastian well. Listen to him. He's with us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's not important to simply have the best line of music, bumper music in the business. It's also important to have it match your guests and have guests who appreciate it. If you know, you know, to quote.
No, I don't, because you cut it out of this clip so that you could repost the fucking video, stupid. So say the name of the song. Also, whatever the fuck the bumper music is, I guarantee this asshole doesn't actually listen to it.
And Bongino. That is, of course, Blue Thunder, the perfect music for one of the greatest MAGA patriots out there.
Blue Thunder? That's funny. That's what I call this. It's blue. Anyways. Blue Thunder? What, the theme from Blue Thunder? Catch you later.
Perfect guest for today, given the news we've been discussing of the Hunter Biden subpoena, a man who has...
What a weird way to say it. Hunter Biden.
Slaughtered deep state dragons for years now. It's great to have him back on the show. It's been far too long. Kash Patel.
How did he... What the fuck you talking... Slaughtered deep state... What? No, you didn't.
Welcome back to America First.
More like Kash Pastel. I can't believe what I did there.
Seb, thanks so much for having me back on. I hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving.
Well, at least he doesn't seem stiff. I think that's the good part. You know, he doesn't seem at all like he's literally got a broomstick up his ass. He seems so relaxed.
And let's kick off the Christmas cheer today.
Let's do it. Let's do it. You're looking very natty. I like that. What is that, like a turquoise jacket? Very cool. Very cool.
You know, it's the Indian Christmas sheen that I like to break out this time of year.
It suits you, sir. Suits you. All right, let's talk with. Let's talk of the news of.
Yeah, it makes you like you look like you're an insane person selling timeshares.
Of the day, let's have a little reminder.
Stop the teal. Oh, you guys.
Of the incumbent in the White House talking about his reprobate son. Play cut.
What's your understanding of what your son was doing for an extraordinary amount of money?
I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board. I found out he was on the board after he was on the board, and that was it. And there's nobody.
Well,
no
you've had a lot of time. Isn't this something you want to get to the bottom of?
No, because I trust my son.
But that doesn't pass the smell test. Like when you're vice president, isn't there a higher standard? Don't you need to know?
No.
Don't you need No, as a matter of fact, there's a good argument for if you don't know something about that and people go, the minute he knew, avoiding it entirely. The standard is the separation. The standard is not, now that people think you know, you should know. That's fucking dumb.
What's happening with your family? Don't you need to put down some guardrails?
Unless there was something that was, there was something on its face that was wrong. There's nothing on its face that was wrong.
No, millions of dollars from Russia, from Kazakhstan.
From Russia? Oh, you mean the money that went to your star witness, that went into the real estate thing that Hunter didn't have a part of, and that was actually invested, it wasn't kept?
From Romania, from Ukraine, $1.4 billion from China, nothing!
Well, again, we're back to the $1.4 billion? Seriously, fucking dumb. That's it. Like, that, they stopped talking about that number for a while because it's such bullshit. And ever since then, like, I think they say it as muscle memory at this point.
On the face of it, that looks strange. And of course, I never discussed it at all, except when I was having dinner with his business associates in that crummy Italian restaurant in Georgetown. All right.
In 2018. Is that when it was?
Kash, I'm going to ask the most cynical question of all. Does any of this matter? We know that
no.
They're all crooked as hell.
Yeah, knowing it is enough. You don't have to actually take it to court and find out you're wrong. It's better to just let it hang out there. That was the benefit of Benghazi. All those hearings with her, actually, with Hillary, all it did was make it clear that these guys were full of shit. It was better to not have her come in and just float this kind of bullshit all the time. The conspiracies work better when you don't fill in the gaps.
The other side's voters think that, Biden's just a sweet old guy and Hunter is just a poor addict. What is the significance?
And your answer to that would be, he's not an addict. And I guess these are guys who like Trump, so they think Trump is sweet. I don't know. I mean, both of them have licked him. I can't judge.
First of the subpoena that's been announced, and then because you're a former national security prosecutor,
No, he isn't. He was put in office for like 6 weeks.
You've been chief of staff at the Pentagon, acting deputy director of national intelligence.
In the lead up to fucking Jan 6, because everybody was booking out of there. When Trump was trying to pack the fucking place with loyalists. He wasn't there because he knows shit. He was there as a fucking guard.
What is the significance of this scumbag lawyer, Abby Lowell? And if you want to know how scummy he is,
he used to represent Jared Kushner.
Look at his past clients, then you'll understand. What is the significance?
Jared Kushner.
Significance of him demanding that Hunter Biden not be heard behind closed doors, but in open session. Give us the Kash Patel diagnosis.
Okay, first, the roll into this is fucking aggravating. This is just so fucking lame. Why the fuck would he know anything about this? Dead serious, other than just being like a Trump mouthpiece surrogate or some shit. Secondly, dragging this stuff out like it's a big fucking deal, or trying to invert the idea that why is this scumbag trying to make sure that Hunter testifies where everyone can see him? Right.
Well, I think you have to weave through the lawyer, the maneuvers they're making,
then do it.
The Republican majority in Congress, and then its impact on national security.
Okay, great. So I noticed you're looking at your list with one of your eyes.
What do I mean by that?
I don't know, but you have it written down just to the right of the screen. Did you go to the Don Jr. School of Broadcasting?
Whether you like or dislike Abby Lowell, when I
I don't know. I've never needed an attorney of that level, and I hope I never do.
was running the Russiagate investigation, he
This is an interesting sniff.
represented some of the witnesses there during that process. He is a lawyer who understands masterfully how to work the levers of Congress for the benefit of his client. So when he comes out and says, I'm demanding a public hearing, Republicans...
That means for the first time, you know, certainly since he represented people in the Trump administration, he feels like he's got a client that will look fine on the stand in front of the American people. Notice he never suggested this with his other clients because he wanted to do everything behind closed doors if they did it at all.
would be fools to acquiesce to that in any way, shape, or form. Because
Right. Because people would see that they're fools. They're already fools. People just recognize that they're fools.
they cannot take on Abby Lowell in a public forum.
No, definitely not. Even though he wouldn't be answering questions, he would just be whispering to his client about whether or not he can do stuff. They wouldn't be. He wouldn't be there as an advocate in that situation. He would simply be a ride along.
They will lose. They can take out Hunter Biden, but Abby will be
No, they can't.
sitting next to him.
Right. So what?
So that's my advice.
Give a kind of flavor as to why this person is so dangerous in that congressional setting.
This person is so dangerous. Oh, because he knows the details of the case and he knows everything the Republicans think they know, and he can make them look like assholes.
Because he's better than every member of Congress that we have. That would
Well, all right. And you know what? I have a quick question. Maybe you know the answer to this, dipshit. Then why doesn't Trump hire him as a lawyer? Why won't... If Abby Lowell has no problem working for scumbags, losers, and miscreants, and he doesn't care, he just wins for his client, he's just better than anybody in Congress, why didn't Trump hire him? Why isn't he representing Trump in any of these cases that he's got? God knows he needs lawyers. I'm just saying, I would recommend it if I gave a fuck.
go after and interrogate Hunter Biden. Most of the members of Congress weren't prosecutors, and it's not their fault. They just don't
A few of them are. Dan Goldman was, I
know
think.
how to take on a witness for the 5 minutes they're given of cross-examination. And what most members of Congress are looking for is their...
Well, that's why they coordinate together, and then they give their 5 minutes to a legal representative of the Republican side of the committee. So they don't have to say their 5 minutes. They just hand it over. They go, I reserve my 30 seconds, and I give the remainder of my time to the counsel for the Republican side, for the majority side. That's how you do it. We've seen it done before. But because all the Republicans there are all about grandstanding and just trying to take a bite out of Hunter for no fucking reason, they're never going to do that. So these dickheads can't even organize their half of the aisle.
5-second headline in the mainstream media to land this political potshot that's meaningless. Look, I'm glad the Hunter Biden subpoena was finally issued, but Seb, where was it a year ago?
Yeah.
Same place it is now, up in smoke.
Like on day one when Republicans came in. You know what's going to happen. It's the holidays, the subpoena's out. Oh, we have to go celebrate with our family. We'll get back to you in January, and then February, and then March, and then the CRs, and then the budgets, and then it'll be no one will care.
Oh, so this is a Republican failure because the Republicans that are running things, including Jim Jordan and Jamie Comer, are fucking morons who are incapable of doing even the baseline level of their job that they ran on as advocates for MAGA and all this stuff, and they just suck, I guess is what you're saying. I guess your point is they suck. They just suck at this. And they're going to continue to suck at this? Okay, good. Thanks for clarification. Glad they brought you on. Also, stop going by your notes. Just fucking wing it. You can't say this stuff off the cuff.
And Republicans, tragically, won't enforce congressional subpoenas
against other Republicans.
So it doesn't matter how many they sent out. Look what the Democrats did unlawfully to our friends Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro when they were held in violating contempt of Congress.
And Jim Jordan, mention what happened to Jim Jordan. Tell him what happened to Jim Jordan.
We haven't even started one. And Mayorkas and Wray and Garland have lied to Congress under oath. They have combined violated 6 congressional subpoenas that I can count.
So, sorry, what the fuck does Mayorkas have to do with this?
For the last year running, and they are still permitted to run their agencies with reckless abandon.
Well, I would take issue with the idea that they're running them with, quote, reckless abandon. That's your characterization, but not the characterization of anyone who's sane. Also, I just watched Mayorkas testify in front of the committee like a week ago. So what the fuck are you talking about?
And this type of behavior that Congress has set, the Republican majority that is exactly what Abby Lowell is taking advantage of.
Right. Well, he's a qualified lawyer. He's a very smart guy. And he's like, these guys are fucking morons. What do you do with a fucking moron?
When he's representing Hunter Biden. And I don't have any confidence that this will lead to any information that the American public, us, your audience, actually deserve for the election. Because DOJ and FBI...
Oh, no. Like, there's some information you and Gorka deserve. It's right here. It's it's that whole does that qualify? That's evidence. You're right.
Aren't going to do anything. And the one thing that we had in Congress was the majority to get these documents out. I haven't seen a single document, Seb. Maybe you have.
No.
Yeah, it's almost like, yeah, because it's good point. I mean, and let me get this straight. You think Republicans should run the government? These people who can fuck up a free lunch, can't even enforce a subpoena against a former crack addict, couldn't find their ass with both hands. You want them in charge of a country you say is the greatest on the planet. You think that's a good idea. You think incompetent fuckwads like Jamie Comer and Jim Jordan should be in power positions in our government. You think rhinos and the rest of the like neutered MAGA ilk should be in charge of veterans and dealing with poverty and fighting monopolies and the military and security aspects of dealing with, foreign countries that want to do us harm. You want assholes like this near those levers of power. Why? If they're this bad at everything, even the small shit, why the fuck would you trust them with infrastructure even? Jesus Christ.
I thought I was the cynical one. So
No, you're just stupid.
So does this mean that it's all pointless?
Yeah, that's what it means. What you're doing is pointless. What he's doing is pointless. Your entire clip is pointless. The show that you do every day is pointless. I don't know what the fuck Salem News Channel is, but it sounds like you're pro witch burning anyways. Yeah, it's this back and forth is pointless. Yeah, all of it's pointless. It's not going to amount to shit. That's it. It just, there is no there, dumb fuck. Yeah.
Does it mean that Comer, Jordan et al. Have failed us?
Yes, they have. I would just like to say, in fact, that is indeed the case. A bunch of failures, and they failed you, and thank God they have, because by failing you, they have, I guess, helped the rest of us not have to worry about. I mean, can you imagine if people with 2 fucking brain cells were in their position and had access to the kind of stuff? They might even be able to concoct some actual fake evidence. But these dumb fucks have everything they want and still can't manage. This is great.
What conclusions should we draw?
That you're both wasting your time. You're wasting all our time, and you are chasing a bus full of idiots so that you can gargle their balls for no particular reason. No, nobody can figure it out. Honest to God, I think you think you're doing all this for Donald Trump. You ain't. Both of you, in your honest moments, if you were asked under, truth serum, if Donald Trump is smarter or better at anything than you are, you would say no. Gorka.
Well, politically, I think they'd probably say they're doing the job and winning the battle.
Politically. Yeah? Is that what they'd say? Is that why their 4-person majority is about to go to 3? Is it?
If they are able to get and wrench away maybe 1 or 2 documents from Hunter Biden on the bank records, and maybe 1 or 2 documents from the FBI.
1 or 2? We just watched Comer say they've got them all.
And DOJ showing that this investigation was politicized.
What investigation? Why would Comer want to get documents from the FBI to show that their investigation of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden is politicized? Say that again? What the shit? Back the fuck up.
Documents from Hunter Biden.
Oh, no. All right.
Say they're doing the job and winning the battle. If they are able to get and wrench away maybe 1 or 2 documents from Hunter Biden on the bank records, and maybe 1 or 2 documents from the FBI and DOJ showing that this investigation was politicized, it was shut down, so that we can...
Oh, that it was shut down. Why would... If they've got all the documents that the FBI and them have, they're in the process of investigating. They wouldn't have to have another investigation. They've got all the records. So basically, what you want is presumably FBI agents who were hot on the trail of Joe Biden, who got him dead to rights, baby. They knew where the body's buried. They knew where the gun was thrown. They knew the bridge it was thrown off into the river. They were just one scuba mask and a couple of 10-minute plunge away from recovering the smoking gun. But they know exactly where it is, and you can get that document back from them and go, shit. Here's the map. It's got an X on it, right where the smoking gun is laying. And then they want to swim to it instead of just looking at the bank records and doing the math themselves with a bigger staff than the FBI has for a case like this.
Carry that documentation with us to your great show and some of the other great programs across the...
What? Okay, that's fucking amazing. So this isn't about, like, convicting Joe Biden or convicting Hunter. This is about convincing his viewers that this is still something. This is more about, these motherfuckers are addressing the fact that the watchers of these kind of shows are sick of this shit.
That this investigation was politicized. It was shut down. So that we can carry that documentation with us to your great show and to some of the other great programs across the country and use that during an election cycle, then it will be a victory. We are not going to convince Hunter Biden in the court of public opinion, and we're certainly not going to...
Convince? He mixed up convict and convince. I don't know why.
Convict him of any serious crimes in a court of law with Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray running that shop, that operation, unless, of course, they want to sideline Joe Biden. That's a separate story.
Right.
Right. Okay. That's the other idea, is that the deep state wants to get rid of Joe Biden, and they're going to use Hunter to do it. So they're just holding him in there in case of emergency, break glass, and they'll use this to get Joe out of office so they can run somebody else.
I think they might do.
And that's a fantasy, because these guys have seen the internal polling that Trump has seen that shows him completely fucked.
Say it does occur. Say he can't, wriggle his way out of a closed-door deposition. If you were running it, what should be happening behind closed doors, and what questions should be asked of Hunter Biden?
Well, first I would get a large old telephone book and a sack of oranges.
Well, the one thing they shouldn't do is ask the political questions. Who cares about him being a lifelong Democrat or his dad?
Right.
And the thing that they should focus on is, hey, Hunter, here's a $78,000 payment.
Why are you holding up a weird little knife? Why are you just holding a knife in your hand for no particular reason? You strange little man.
From company X, who is owned by the CCP. What did you do for that money?
And them will go, here's the papers filing for CEFC to purchase a natural gas plant in Louisiana. We were the conveyor for that. Here's the documentation where I was insisting they set up a U.S. subsidiary that would be under U.S. law to complete the purchase. They refused to do that. The deal died. Next question. and the money that they put into a holding account that was 10% of what would the overall deal be worth, we divvied up at the end of it because they fucked up, and we got to keep the "you're wasting my fucking time" money, like a sensible businessman.
Did you register as a foreign agent? Did your father and family receive any of the proceeds of that ill-gotten gain? Are they members?
First of all, presumes facts, not an evidence that it was, quote, ill-gotten. Secondarily, while you continue to read off your fucking Post-it notes on the side screen, either that, or it's very possible, by the way, that he's not reading off this, although I think he is. It could also be that that's where the monitor is that has Gorka's face on it, so he's looking over there while he's looking. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's a FaceTime issue where you're looking where they are, not where your camera is. It's weird.
Members of any other LLCs we don't know about.
Please, can you? We can't find any crimes. Can you concoct some for us? Can you make up? I mean, we have the ability in the government to see who owns any American citizen who runs an LLC, because it's needed for bank records. It exists, and we can do like a one fucking keystroke search for it. But are there any that we don't know about, other than the 500 or so Donald Trump has just for bank accounts?
Did your dad call any CCP or Ukrainian officials and say, if my son isn't given this contract, you're not getting U.S. aid? Those are the types of answers under oath that would be helpful.
No. If the answer was yes, but they aren't.
But I'm not sure that this Republican-led majority is ready to ask those questions.
Why not? You think you're some sort of brilliant fucking legal mind? What the shit are you talking about? That'll be one of the first ones. What'd they get in exchange for this? Did anybody ask you to... Did you tell anybody you could get your dad to do things in exchange for this money? Did your dad tell you to tell them to... Like, of course, it's the only questions they're going to ask. What the shit?
Yeah, no, that's the big question.
Ew. All right, I don't want to hear any shit about DeSantis wiping his fucking snot all over the place.
That would be helpful, but I'm not sure that this Republican-led majority is ready to ask those questions.
Yeah, no, that's the big question, especially if you realize.
I think he was just nervous that he had some coke there. Still, that looked like an Ellis moment from Die Hard.
That we're 10 and a half months into this. House, into this Congress, and we're getting a subpoena for this individual only now. I mean, God bless Mike Johnson, but the fact that Kevin McCarthy did nothing. I want to ask you also about...
What the fuck does this have to do with Kevin McCarthy? He set this fucking committee up almost immediately. He can't make this shit happen. Mike Johnson doesn't control whether Comer and Jim Jordan ask for fucking subpoenas.
The release under the new speaker of the January 6th footage, what that means for the political prisoners who have been abused by the DOJ.
Oh, you mean the ones that beat cops and shit on the stairs? I mean, they're FBI agents. I don't even know why you're trying to get them out. Aren't they all informants and agents provocateur? I mean... Again, if they were prodded into doing this shit by agents provocateurs, do you really want fuckheads like that on the street anyways? I guess you guys need all the help you can get.
You want to talk about also the hostages. You want to talk about the open border. But right now, let me ask you, it's not a gotcha question.
Definitely not.
But what do you think of the replacement of the speaker? I think what Matt Gaetz did was good.
Except when it was bad.
Given the fact that at least we have the J6 footage, what's your take?
Why? All it's going to do is get more J6ers arrested.
On that hand grenade being thrown into Congress.
Well, I'm a guy who's probably in the minority who wants Congress to act more on their constitutional oversight jobs and on their jobs of actually passing a budget and legislating and going back to the traditional ways of Congress. And that just wasn't getting done. Seb, I know you know this, but
Of course it was getting done. It's one of the reasons why they kicked him to the curb. All right. This is now boring me. You're watching House Parks, Megaworldwide. By the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, share it out. If you're joining us just now, give a thumbs up. Just hit that like thing. It'll boost us in the algorithm so other people will see us. It'll show up at the top of their feed on their YouTube television set versions of things, or even the desktop app, or those kind of. It just helps. It does actually help. I'm just throwing that in there. I love the fact that these assholes are boring themselves to tears. And now, speaking of boring, ladies and gentlemen, I give you this guy, Seen Hannity, over here, who is, in the modern parlance of our time, a dope.
I agree. I'm a dope.
Right, exactly. And I've often said, Sean Hannity, you're a dope.
I agree. I'm a dope.
And it's the one area where we agree. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you say so?
I agree. I'm a dope.
Exactly. And in this one, we sort of have I would say another disagreement, but that's because he's a dope. So obviously the rest of the time, other than on that point, we're going to disagree. Hannity, Hunter Biden thinks he's above the law. If he thinks he's above the law, then he wouldn't even think he'd have to testify in public, much less in private. You moron. Also, Jim Jordan thinks he's above the law. He's the one who didn't answer the subpoena at all. But here we go. Let's jump into this. Now, again, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. That's how long this clip is. So the argument that Hunter Biden thinks he's above the law is either right to the point and he just fucking nails it, or he can only fill this segment with 4 minutes and 30 seconds worth of shit before he has to move on because he's got nothing.
Hunter Biden, he's back in the news, and
desperate times. Yes, where he desperately wants to testify in public.
Not for his world-renowned artwork. Now, tonight, the president's 53-year-old son is attempting to dodge what is a House subpoena. Now, Hunter's lawyers say
no, he's not trying to dodge it. He just wants to answer it in public.
That their client is willing to only appear for a public hearing before the House of Representatives, not a closed-door deposition.
Right, in public, under oath. In public, under oath. In public, under oath.
I agree. I'm a dope.
Right, you dim fuck.
As the law requires. Now,
yeah, he's just, again, it's not his fault. He's standing in line behind Jim Jordan, and Jim has not moved the line at all. It's like when you're at Disneyland and some dude's on his fucking phone, and the rest of the line is moved, but there's Jim Jordan fucking looking down at his phone. The whole queue is emptied out. He's just not fucking even looking up. He's just not going to step forward. And you're like, okay, I could start a fight here, but it's Disneyland, and I don't want to.
If you or I were to receive a subpoena from Congress, we would be forced to comply, or...
Well, that's because you and I aren't Jim Jordan, I guess.
I agree. I'm a dope. We would be facing possible jail time.
Uh-huh. But not getting it, like Steve Bannon.
But Hunter seems to think he's above the law.
No, because he's agreeing to testify in public. It's about how to answer it, not answering it at all. As a matter of fact, I bet you anything that if they subpoenaed Sean Hannity, until this happened, he would have asked for the same fucking thing.
Now, well, I wonder where he got that impression from. Maybe it was
Donald Trump.
The attempted
Jim Jordan.
Hard plea deal with David Weiss, or David Weiss allowing the statute of limitations to pass, or maybe...
Wait, David Weiss let the statute of limitations pass on Donald Trump's tax evasion charges and stuff in New York? Oh, that's different.
His daddy's DOJ running out the clock on many of Hunter's serious tax violations, or Hunter's ability to purchase massive quantities of drugs and hire foreign prostitutes with zero legal consequences whatsoever.
Well, here's the thing. You got to catch somebody while they're doing it. Showing video of someone doing drugs or sleeping with someone, and you don't have records of the transactions, and you don't have like a chemical test to prove that what was being snorted, smoked, or held or seen in this video is actually real. Without that evidence, you can't lock people up. Otherwise, everybody who was in the fucking Rum Diaries or the Basketball Diaries or any of the other movies about diaries that involve drugs would be under arrest right now, you fucking boob.
Or possibly it was all that money that Hunter took in from America's geopolitical foes like, Russia and China and Romania, et cetera.
Yeah, just you know what? At this point, you should just say et cetera.
While his father was in a position of great power and great influence.
No, I mean, obviously, a good portion of this you're talking about is after Joe left office, but
all while apparently not paying quite a bit of money in taxes,
which he had to repay,
and on a lot of income.
By the way, he paid more in taxes than Trump did. Hunter Biden has paid more taxes than Donald Trump in the last decade. Just saying.
And
even without being up to date on them, he owed $2 million extra. The other guy loaned him the money to actually let him pay it off, but he did ultimately pay them. That's why he's not doing any time on it. That's how the IRS works. By the way, you're the motherfuckers who wanted to get rid of IRS agents who would be required to go after really complicated tax schemes like this one. But you guys don't want them to have enough IRS agents to go after this kind of shit. And the dumbasses you did manage to hire on the fucking cheap want to use stuff that they found on the alleged hard drive from a fucking website that if they did introduce would allow Hunter Biden to get off scot-free.
That has to be resolved. And all of this for work that he has zero experience in at a time where he was admittedly addicted to drugs. But
admittedly addicted to drugs. It's terrible. I guess that's the thing. That was what was wrong. Don't admit it, I think, is the important lesson.
While the very liberal and biased and politicized and weaponized Biden DOJ dragged.
That's a lot of extra adjectives. I just stick to weaponized. It sounds tougher.
Its feet, the Republican House is taking action, contrary to what Democrats would have you believe.
That's a picture of the Capitol building, just so you know. In a situation where they have so much evidence they can barely see over the top of it. There's evidence as far as the eye can see. They're up to their eyeballs in evidence. This is a picture of the Capitol dome. There was also a picture of him smiling a second ago as well.
The GOP's impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden is very serious.
Super serious. That's real serious, guys. It's so serious. Seriously.
Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, who will join us in a moment.
Oh, dear.
Is investigating legitimate claims of corruption through.
Oh, is he? He's investigating legitimate claims? Why? Is he taking time off from all the fucking evidence?
Closed door hearings, financial forensics, and other inquiries.
Financial forensics. Yeah, he's the Quincy of fucking checkbooks.
Hunter, meanwhile, is attempting to turn this into a political charade with a public hearing, but still Comer is more than willing to give Hunter his circus. But first, that closed-door deposition would still be required as ordered.
Boom, as ordered, because that's what the government job is, to order around private citizens, especially for stuff that they did when even their relatives weren't working in government anymore.
Including, by the way, documents handed over.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's the subpoena. Hunter must comply, of course. This is all part of Hunter's big new, what they're calling, legal strategy to fight back, according to Politico today. For years, as Hunter Biden faced a protracted criminal probe, he was told to cooperate with prosecutors and wait quietly for exoneration. That strategy, favored by veteran Democrats, failed. So now he's, quote,
Why'd you skip this part, shithead? Why in the world? Is it because you're a dope?
I agree. I'm a dope.
Of course. Okay. That strategy, favored by veteran Democrats who came of age in a less pugilistic political era, failed. Who came of age in a less pugilistic, who basically haven't dealt with the shitty Comers and Trumpies of the world.
Directly taking on his adversaries with lawsuits and other legal threats. Now, some might call this a campaign of intimidation. To others, it might look like desperation.
And if Trump was doing it, you'd say that was because he was tough, because you're an asshole.
I agree. I'm a dope. According to another report, White House staffers, they are extremely irritated with Hunter for not clearing this new strategy with the Biden White House. And Democrats on Capitol.
When's the date on that? That's weird.
Capitol Hill are also unhappy with two unnamed lawmakers calling
the Hunter Biden counteroffensive a strategy long overdue or a political minefield. Thanks, Politico. Way to settle it.
Hunter's new.
Who took which side? Did Betsy go with the long overdue, or did she take political minefield, or did Eugene take the other side?
Offensive strategy, all risk, no reward. This comes as one of Hunter's friends is worried that the Democrats are now eager to use the president's son as a sacrificial lamb in this case. The big question tonight, is Hunter willing to tell the truth about his father, or is he willing to maybe take on the fall himself?
Take on the fall? That's a new Hallmark movie, Taking on the Fall. It's about a girl who falls in love when she moves to the big city to find a place for mom.
And for Republicans and other logical people around the country, well, this scandal is not really about Hunter's struggles with addiction. This is about
You just want to bring it up just to be an asshole then, I guess?
the big guy. In other words, the real brand, and that would be Joe Biden.
Oh, you mean the trustworthy aspect of it? Because while Hunter was a drug addict and may have had issues and people wouldn't trust him necessarily, they were basically like, well, but his dad's got his back and he'll only fall so far and we can trust him because he's not going to abscond or fuck off with our money because his dad wouldn't let it happen.
Who allegedly used his struggling son to fill up the family coffers. Was Hunter, for example, selling access and influence to that Biden brand so that Jill and Joe Biden could afford this, beautiful beachfront estate in
Fuck you. Try harder. This dude, look at him slapping the fucking desk. This motherfucker makes tens of millions of dollars a year more than Joe Biden does. And he's like this lavish my ass. No, I mean, literally do that.
For this,
That's the thing, because, and I've heard great things about Sean Hannity's ability to lavish someone's ass.
He can do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe it.
I know.
Beautiful beachfront estate in Delaware. Live
in Delaware.
In luxury on a senator's salary.
It's not on a senator's salary, you dumb motherfucker. We've seen his taxes, unlike Trump.
And according to James Comer, pay 10 family members what ends up to be tens of millions of dollars.
No, it doesn't.
Class Joe and his wife, well, they love to portray themselves as living a middle-class lifestyle.
Yeah, but then he became fucking vice president and sold a book that made about $20 million. That would, and he's still one of the poorest, he would still be one of the poorest members of the Senate, even now.
But it appears that image was not quite accurate as Joe was buying expensive Corvettes, and again, that beach.
What the fuck? He bought the expensive Corvette when it wasn't expensive, you dumb motherfucker. It's worth a lot now because he keeps it cherry. He's the original owner, you tit.
Beachfront property. And now.
Beachfront fucking property. Jesus Christ. It's on an inlet fake lake, you dumbass.
Let's see what the Bidens do. Are they ready to throw their own son under the bus? Hey, Sean Hannity here.
All right. What do you think they are? The Trumps? Jesus Christ. Look, say what you will about Hunter, but he's no Don Jr. Like, he's got a Corvette. He bought it for like $6,000. The dude has fucking washed it with a diaper, for fuck's sake. God damn. Try harder. Sean Hannity for just dipshitting his way through history.
I agree. I'm a dope.
God damn. And let's see. Let's go in here because there's a couple of things I wanted to grab this. But on another issue. Oh yeah. So let me do this before we move on to that part. One final piece in the Hunter Biden saga. Apparently, this one fascinates me because this might, for all the blathering bullshit we've just been listening to, perhaps, just perhaps, there is a reason to worry. Perhaps there is something that's hidden underneath the details of the parts of the incorporated into the metallurgical properties of the scientific. Just shut the fuck up. Perhaps GOP lawmaker unveils most damning piece of evidence against Biden in Biz Probe. Rep. Jason Smith from Missouri, discusses Hunter Biden and the ongoing probe in the Biden family business dealings. And this is the most damning piece of evidence. So, okay, first of all, I haven't seen any damning evidence at all. I've seen a lot of information and then conjecture attempting to make it into evidence when it is not. I've seen a lot of turd polishing, and this seems like this guy is arguing that this is the shiniest turd of all. Man, I wish I had a little ding noise that I could put. I'll put that in later. The shiniest turd of all. Ding. All right. Here it is. This is it. I settle in. This may settle the whole thing.
Hunter Biden.
3 minutes and 46. Oh, it's Maria too. Shit. And I thought it was going to be someone smart.
Biden is now offering to testify publicly before the House Oversight Committee on December 13th.
It is very hard to say publicly with that much gelatin injected into your face.
Here's what Oversight Committee Chairman Jay.
By the way, they love this, like the hunting jacket, the hunter hunting jacket thing that he's wearing in this particular instance. I don't know why this is the one making the rounds. It does look a bit like the police coat that Dobbs is wearing in the Dead Zone. But you know, when he does himself in, the serial killer, maybe that's why they like it.
Comer had to say about that yesterday. Watch.
Oh, it's Comer? That's right. They suckered me in. God damn it. GOP lawmaker. Just say Comer so I can know not to watch.
Everyone has the right to plead the fifth, but, you know, according to Hunter Biden's attorney today, he wants to come forward, and I think that's great. Give him an opportunity. He's going to have due process. He's going to be able to answer some questions. But this isn't about Hunter Biden. This is an investigation by Congress of Joe Biden.
Right, but you've said he's the bag man. Isn't he the guy isn't he the one peddling all of the, all right.
For potential corruption.
Potential corruption. He's not. Don't. Did he just say this? Did this motherfucker say potential? Potential. 3 fucking years of this bullshit. You have the fucking nerve to come on this show and say potential? You can't even whip out an alleged, you dumb motherfucker. Potential. Say potential again, you dumb motherfucker.
Joining me right now is Missouri Congressman and House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason.
And youth pastor who managed to dodge the police on his one-time parking in front of the Catch a Predator house.
Smith. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for being here this morning.
And by the way, you have something, I don't know if it's runny or shiny, or it's powdery, or it's just the light that's coming down. I don't know, maybe Kash Patel can reach over and go.
Great to be with you, Maria.
You put out a statement.
It is great to be here. Hello, Maria. Maria. Really, is that true, Hal? Which part? I've said so many true things, but yes.
Statement yesterday saying the congressional subpoena Hunter Biden received was not a suggestion. He is required to sit for a deposition on December 13th. Do you care if it's public or behind closed doors?
You know, that's exactly right.
It was a question.
The congressional subpoena to Hunter Biden was not a suggestion.
It is not. It is not at all. And if he's not enough of an alpha male like myself, you know, buff, strong, deep-voiced, and powerful, to come and sit down in front of us, then quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of his ass face.
It's a requirement. He needs to set for those depositions.
So set for it?
Just like
Jim Jordan
Jr. did multiple times before Congress, just like the 2 IRS whistleblowers. They set for 15 hours of deposition.
Yeah, but they were whistleblowers. It was their choice to come forward. And you know what it resulted in? Do you know what those 15 hours resulted in? Fucking nothing. They sat, seriously, I'm shocked at that number. They sat for, it can't be collectively. It was like 3 of them, so 5 hours apiece. Is that the idea? 15 fucking hours? And you motherfuckers couldn't get anything out of that shit? 15 fucking hours. With the IRS whistleblowers. and you don't have chargeable anything out of that shit. Those motherfuckers couldn't, in 15 hours, they couldn't point you to a document, a bank record, anything that actually has a fucking crime in it anywhere.
Positions before they ever came to a public testimony. I want Hunter to have a public testimony, but I also believe it's extremely important that we get answers to numerous questions.
Yeah, like, where's the evidence, please? We've been looking everywhere. I can't find it. I've been looking all over. I don't know where it went. It's gone. It was here a second ago, and somebody ran. I don't know what the. It's a mess. I'm just saying. This is not. It's a mess. Aggravated. I'm sorry, but I am. Where is it? Where's the. Please tell us. Please. Just. You don't have to. You know what? I'm going to go through your entire banking history, which I've downloaded, and because big government is a problem. And I'm going to just read things, and you tell me if I'm getting warmer or colder towards the crimey. How about that? Can we work that out? Jesus Christ.
That lead to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden can answer those.
So you think you'll be able to...
Listen to that again. God damn. That lead where? The fucking nerve of these assholes.
Also believe it's extremely important that we get answers to numerous questions that lead to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden can answer those.
So you think...
Why don't you already? You should be confirming if... That's why it's not evidence, you dumb shit. Oh my God. This gets lamer. I'm kind of impressed that this shit can get lamer by the day.
You'll be able to get more information in a closed-door hearing rather than a public hearing, right? Nancy Mace was telling us earlier, one of the issues is that in a public hearing, every lawmaker gets 5 minutes, and then you're...
Oh, my God.
You're on to the next thing.
Yeah. Unless you can get your people in order and take all the grandstanders out and have everybody agree to punt 4.5 minutes or so to the attorney for the majority, who will ask questions as an attorney like you would in the deposition, which you can totally fucking do. But the problem is they can't stop all the Republicans who want to grandstand and just shit all over Hunter Biden and his dad to his fucking face and get a pwn the liberal or pwn the Biden's tweet out of it.
Can't really do follow-ups.
That's a big concern, is that you have 5 minutes to the Republican.
Why can't you do follow-ups? Can't somebody, the chairman can give himself time anytime he wants. He can do follow-ups. He can flesh some of that stuff out. And like I said, hire a fucking attorney.
5 minutes to the Democrat back and forth, and you can't do follow-ups. You run out of time, and you...
Well, you can work with people, like groups of three. Have you ever seen how Raskin and Goldman and some of the others on the Democratic side do it? They set each other up like a fucking volleyball team, and the follow-ups come from people who are later in the questioning. Or they talk to their fellow Democrats and they go, hey man, can you punt 30 seconds back my way? I have another question for him to follow up on the thing because he dodged it. Or you can do it. I don't care. It's just good that we get the information.
Can't get to the basis of the questions. Let's do the depositions. Let's release the depositions for the American public and can see every question that was asked, what was presented, and then have him come before public testimony. But we need hours of public depositions in order.
Yeah. Say that again, shithead. You need what?
We need hours of public depositions in order.
You mean private deposition?
In order to move forward.
Hours of private deposition in order to move forward. Okay, so if you're up to your fucking eyeballs in evidence, and it's evidence as far as the eye can see, and it's plain as day, and I don't understand why anybody else can't fucking see it, then why the ever-loving shit do you need depositions from anybody to answer these questions?
Well, what have you learned so far that you...
I've learned that I shouldn't be on camera this early in the morning because honestly, I can't. I just can't. I can't. I thought I could. I can't.
believe is the most damning piece of evidence, which suggests potential bribery on the part
what's the big one? Come
of
on.
Joe Biden.
The most damning.
I think there's numerous things that we're looking at.
No, we're not asking about numerous things that you're looking at, motherfucker. Say looking at again. Say it. Say looking at, motherfucker. Looking at. You're looking at. Are you looking at it? There's several things you're looking at. Is that what you're doing? You're looking at shit? She asked you what the biggest piece of evidence is. You gonna tell me what you're fucking looking at? What are you looking at? Say looking at again, motherfucker. Say looking at again.
First and foremost.
All right, I'm fine. I'm all right.
When President Biden was vice president, his son, Hunter Biden, got a lucrative contract to work at a Ukraine company called Burisma.
What? When did that happen? You're telling when? Hold on. Does anybody know anything about this?
The Burmese
seems like something.
So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
Now, where was this place? It was in Ukraine? I'm not even familiar.
Just for access to his father.
No, not at all.
Then we also know that...
No, you don't. Not evidence. Again, conjecture. Dumbass.
President Biden said that he knew nothing about his son's business dealings. We know that that's not true. He then...
No, you don't. Just because you meet your the business partners of your kid or somebody else doesn't mean you know fuck all about their goddamn business. Dude, I want to sit each one of these people down and quiz them about their kids' friends. Just like name 3 of your kids' friends and what their job is. Now, they might be able to name the kids, but do they know what that kid's job is or how it even fucking works? Anybody? Of course not.
Said he wasn't involved in his son's business dealings.
Right. And if he was, you would have tax information about his involvement.
We know that that's not true.
No, you don't.
We actually have evidence that's coming forward showing that he...
Wait. You have evidence that is coming. You don't have evidence that came forward. You don't have evidence now, but it's coming forward. You have evidence that's coming forward. You do. How do you know it's evidence until it's come forward?
In fact, probably benefited himself from his son's business dealings. Jamie Comer released...
Okay, first of all, you motherfuckers were saying he's the bag man for years. So, of course, if your son is your bag man, he would be benefiting from it. But evidence coming forward that he benefited from what? Because James Biden had a deal with Hunter and he used the money that he made in that deal to pay back his brother?
These 2 different checks. One of...
Oh, my God. Fuck me. 2 different checks.
$200,000 and one of $40,000.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I saw them. They both happened when Joe Biden was no longer president, and they're from his fucking brother and his brother's wife.
From James Biden.
Right. For shit that never happened during his time as vice president.
Joe Biden says that it was a loan repayment. Well, guess what? If you look at the public tax returns that Joe Biden released, there is nothing in those public returns showing any interest income for any loan. So the president needs...
Yeah, but that was under 9 years, and personal loans to family don't require that. It was below the limit. But again, Trump has loans to his kids, but they never see that money. See, Trump loans his kids money and then never gives his kids the money, and they pay out of their, their payment from their job at the Trump organization back into the coffers about, 1% of that, 1% of that. And because it's money laundering. Also, AmeriCorps Health LLC. You couldn't find something with a more Chinese-y sounding name?
Needs to answer these questions.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Why? Why does he have to answer these questions? Who gives a shit? Seriously. I'm sure he has an answer for it. Doesn't bother me at all. But it happened after he was vice president. Who gives a shit? Also, these are Republicans who believe that you shouldn't be able to go after someone after they're out of office, or if they never were, and yet, voila.
We've been trying to
Get your head out of your ass?
dig in on specific
Dig your head out of your ass?
decisions that Joe Biden made as vice president, which perhaps he could have gotten paid for. I mean,
all right, and this, you're on to something. Fantastic. You've been looking into possible decisions Joe Biden, as vice president, who would be following the president's lead and would have had to convince Barack Obama to agree to this in exchange for no money whatsoever or some shit, and at possible damage to his legacy, but I'm sure it was possible. And you've been considering this. What would these changes be? Here they are. She's going to let us know. We've got 8 seconds left. I'm sure she'll nail it.
we spoke to Nancy Mace earlier, and she says it's north of $50 million, which this family has taken in. What were they being paid for? Well,
hold the fuck up. You can't end it there, asshole. That is literal. She ends on the question. The fucking nerve.
Which this family has taken in. What were they being paid for?
Cut.
Well, Hunter.
Get the fuck out of here. She said Nancy Mace. She's one of the Republicans. Jesus Christ. They had to cut it off. You know, what do you think? They ran out of hard drive space? A 3-minute, 46-second clip. They didn't have room on the server for another 15 seconds for this dumb motherfucker to go, I don't know. The who? Jesus Christ. It's the only question that matters. It's the only thing that makes it bribery or influence peddling. If he didn't do anything with his influence, if he just took the money for a business deal, period, it doesn't fucking matter. It's nobody's goddamn business except his. The only area where it has any meaning to the voters, to anybody else, is if he was either bribed or he extorted money on, to do something on behalf of somebody else. You're going to give me this money or else I'm going to screw you up. Or we'll give you this money if you'll do this favor for us. This is the only, or we'll blackmail you. If you don't do this for us, we're going to release this information and blah, 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 right? Which obviously, if it was stuff about Hunter, that didn't fucking work. Biden was like, fucking chew your boots, asshole. I don't care. But unless you could prove that he did something he wouldn't normally do for the money, it ain't bribery, extortion, or blackmail. None of it. Lord Almighty. Also, don't no. Hold on. One second. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to do something. Hold on 1 second. Go back to me. Trying this. Okay. No Facebook person, please go away. I was willing to be nice about this. Block user on Facebook. Block it's restream. There we go. We had a spam account trying to get in there. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the series cliffhanger from this dipshit. Now, let's why we'll end it on this because we gotta. As you may have realized of late, if you're a regular watcher of House Sparks Mega Worldwide, and if you aren't, welcome. Hi, glad you could be here. Don't forget to hit that like if you haven't already. It's a good time to do it right now. You can like it. You can like if you're watching this as a video later. You can like it right now because trust me, you're gonna like this. That recently I have unveiled the fact, if I may, that I indeed am the establishment. I am the Democratic machine. I am the deep state. I may not hit bottom, but I'll scrape the shit out of the sides, and that's got to account for something. And I might, rumor has it, I might indeed be the uniparty as well, which, by the way, is just another way in my family that we say the number one party. And as the uniparty, I'm tired of being constantly attacked by this dopey motherfucker, and that's the truth. So this is Chip Roy desperately trying to look like a cowboy, when in reality he's basically like he's one of Ted Cruz's training wheels. Yeah, easy, Wes. All right, so this is him. Chip Roy lambasts the uniparty for state of border. We are under siege.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized for any questions he may have for the panel.
Well, I thank the chairman, and I thank both you gentlemen for coming here.
And I'm going to step out for a second.
Testify before the Rules Committee. I hope you had great Thanksgivings. I would note that there's an important phrase left out from my remarks on the floor of the House, which is the phrase that comes on the back.
I agree, Dr. 13. Under Siege was indeed Seagal's best movie.
Back end of the question about the meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done. But
wait, hold on. This dumb motherfucker rails against Big Tech and hates the woke corporate structure of companies like Apple, and he's literally reading his shit straight off of an iPad Pro.
Sides, quote,
the fucking nerve. At least the guy behind him has an HP.
Quote, well, I guess it's not as bad as the Democrats, end quote. The fact of the matter is, what the American people are frustrated about is...
For the record, I am an American people. Many of us are American people in our chat room. Some people are in the chat room and they're not American people, but they're still people just the same. People are people, so why should it be? You and I should look inside the people, please. All right, so I've never gotten a call from this dumb motherfucker. He's never asked my opinion on this.
Is the uniparty in this town.
Now, a uniparty is the kind of thing you say when you think the entire system is against you because you're stupid.
The fact that this entire Congress
is ganging up on me, and they called my scruff a prison pussy right in front of other people, right in front of Matt Gaetz, who laughed. And if you've ever heard his laugh, it sounds like a Skeksis choking on a rat. It's terrible.
The previous Congress, the previous 217 Congresses.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if it's a conspiracy that's, predates you, it's obviously been going on forever.
Have done nothing but make this country weaker, with more debt, with less...
Sorry, until you showed up, you dumb motherfucker. So the entirety of our existence as a country, the Congress has done nothing but weaken the country and saddle us with debt. That's all they fucking done. Never mind the fact that Donald Trump is responsible for a fucking third of our debt by himself. Never mind that. It's all the Congresses forever. And until Chip Roy rode in like a fucking dipshit Billy the Skid Mark, we never had a chance. America has sucked until you showed up. Get the fuck out of here.
Ability to have freedom as we pile up laws and regulations around the heads of the American people and constrain.
What? Yeah, it's that fucking asbestos rules. Am I right?
Train them. Yet ignore our fundamental duty to actually defend a sovereign nation.
Well, you could pass a comprehensive immigration bill. It's sitting right there.
That's the actual truth.
No, it isn't. It's ridiculous.
The gentleman from Arizona referred to crocodile tears. Well, I'm sorry, but I do shed some tears for the people that I represent.
No, I don't think you do.
That are being absolutely decimated by open borders.
No, you don't. A crying Chip Roy over anybody else has never fucking happened.
The young man yesterday morning in a coffee shop in Austin, Texas, who grew up in Laredo and lives in San Antonio, is a constituent of mine who lives near the airport in San Antonio, who came up talking about family members of his who have died, who have been had their lives upended, had their ranches upended, talking about single adult males coming into this country. The videos that I was shown by members of the Texas State Legislature just this last Friday at a football game, pulling me aside.
At a football game, you motherfucker. Guy talking to him at a coffee shop about all the dead people he knows and how their lives have been upended. And I was at a fucking football game. What good game was that? How'd it go? Were you crying during football? There's no crying in football. There's no crying in football.
And saying, what can you do to stop this?
The football game? Nothing. Because just because we're down by a couple of points doesn't mean I should do anything about it.
We are begging for help.
From who? The defense or the offense? I don't know who has the ball right now. You've got to be more clear.
We are desperate for help. Showing me videos of people.
We're desperate for help. That's why we're at a football game.
Running away from Border Patrol, single adult males.
Why would they run away from Border Patrol? If the border's wide open, who gives a shit?
And if 2023, if you are running away from Border Patrol, you are up to no good.
Or you're afraid you won't be allowed to stay because everybody outside this country knows the border isn't really open.
I assure you, you are up to no good.
Well, I got to be honest. I think if you're saying that in English, not that many people are going to be able to understand you.
And that's the actual reality of what we're dealing with on the ground.
No, it isn't. By the way, on the ground you're talking about, are you talking about the ground in the coffee shop or while you were getting coffee at a coffee shop in Austin, Texas, which is fucking Portland of Texas? You were in a coffee shop there, were you? And the guy came up and bugged the fuck out of you with this people upending his ranch, and then, or are you talking about the ground at the football game where was the quarterback called for intentional grounding? I missed the game. I'm sorry.
Speaker of the House in Texas came up to me and said,
where was he? Were you at a fucking burlesque show?
We have $13 billion.
We're seeing a tap group.
We're in on this. $13 billion the state of Texas is in on in having to deal with the border crisis.
Is in on? Yeah, and your entire economy is predicated on trade with Mexico.
Now, Texas, thankfully, has a fraction of our state devoted to federal lands, something like 1.x%.
I see. So 1.x% is Biden's problem, and the rest of it is you fucking around.
Basically, we got Big Bend and nothing else.
Huh. So 1% of the fucking Texas border is Joe Biden's fault, and the rest of it is what, you guys just fucking around?
And the fact is, though, Texas is under siege.
Well, apparently the federal government can only take care of 1% of that siege.
Under Operation Lone Star in the state of Texas.
Oh, you mean the one where the National Guard guys are committing suicide because they're being forcefully conscripted by Abbott to do bullshit the Customs and Border Patrol is already doing, so they're losing their businesses and their relationships are falling apart while this asshole's making them sit in the fucking desert with their thumb up their ass?
We've had 400...
By the way, you're boring the fuck out of the other guy from the Uniparty, just for the record. Also, in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. In case you don't know, and by the way, obviously, here you go. See this right here? There you go. This is from this is Army Times, just in case you think I'm picking something. Hold on, let me scroll this up so you can see it. Wave of suicides hits National Guard's border mission. 4 soldiers have taken their own lives in 2 months. This is in December of 2021. This is how long this shit's been going on. Yeah, here, hold on one second. I'll show you another one real quick. Here you go. Suicides, living conditions spark concern among Texas National Guard deployed at the border. Sources tell ABC that the conditions are impacting morale. Gee, you think it might if people are killing themselves, you dumb motherfucker. Morale. Let's see. There's KSAT. Let's see. Operating on. There you go. There's the name of the deceased. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, that was... Give it 1 second. Hold on. I'm gonna... Well, let's see. National Guard members wave of suicides. There's another one. This is in 22 in January of 22. Another Operation Lone Star soldier dies amid morale crisis. Texas National Guard soldier assigned to the state's mission at its border with Mexico, dubbed Operation Lone Star, accidentally shot and killed himself in an alcohol-related incident Saturday, and another survived a suicide attempt during the week between Christmas and New Year's Day, according to initial incident reports obtained by the Army Times. The morale crisis among troops at the border, many of whom are there via long-term unit-wide involuntary actions, led Joint Task Force Lone Star's chaplains to initiate a force-wide morale survey Monday. Army Times previously reported a series of suicide deaths linked to the mission, whose soldiers are suffering from issues with living conditions and pay. Approximately 10,000 members of the Texas National Guard and Texas State Guard and official state militia are either on the border or supporting the effort from other locations of the state, according to a November operations order obtained by the Army Times. The soldiers are supporting the Texas Department of Public Safety under the control of Greg Abbott. The Texas officials say they're in a state of active duty status, attempting to stem human and drug trafficking. In fiscal 2021, saw an all-time record level of Border Patrol apprehensions along U.S.-Mexico border, too. Texas military department officials did not immediately respond to questions submitted by Army Times on Monday evening. Operation Lone Star is a distinct state-run effort with no operational connection to the federally controlled National Guard task force on the border, which Army Times investigated in December. The suicide attempt occurred December 28th. According to documents obtained by an infantry NCO assigned to one of the JTF Lone Star's subordinate task forces, cut his wrists in his hotel room near McAllen, Texas. 4 soldiers from his unit responded quickly enough to gain access to his room and slow the bleeding until paramedics arrived. The document said the NCO is recovering. Less than an hour after midnight on New Year's Day, a junior enlisted officer from the same mobilized unit, 3rd Battalion, 1st Infantry, died off duty at a friend's house when he shot himself in the head with his personal weapon. The incident was alcohol-related. According to documents, the McAllen Police Department determined the foul play was not involved because he was suicidal and sad and drunk, and he fucking was waving his gun around and blew his goddamn brains out. And this is how Abbott has been handling this.
35,700 illegal immigrant apprehensions by our own Texas authorities.
Yeah, because there's by your own Texas authorities. By the way, if the federal government only has 1% of the entire border area and CBP are, just because they live there, whatever, it's just fucking stupid, by your own authorities.
34,000 criminal arrests, 30,900 felony charges.
Yeah, but those aren't related to the... Just because you're arresting people near the border doesn't mean those are all fucking migrants.
We've seized over 428 million lethal doses of fentanyl.
Okay, and you just let the unlethal ones slip through, or?
We have, yes, bused 11,300 migrants to Washington, 13,500 migrants to New York City, 7,000 to Chicago, 2,600 to Philadelphia, 1,100 to Denver, 480 to LA. Yes, we have done that.
Uh-huh. Kind of a drop in the bucket.
That is a fraction of the 435,000 apprehensions we have had, or the 13
Right, but the 435,000 apprehensions don't get to stay.
$1 billion that we've had to spend in Texas in order to do the job of the federal government.
You're not doing the job of the federal government. You are in charge of that portion of the border. The federal government handles the CPB and those guys, and then you have a second. You've spent that extra money on your own. And by the way, that $13 billion wasn't to arrest these fucking people. That was to check every fucking truck that enters the state from the Mexico side, which ground all this trade to a fucking halt and was a complete disaster.
It is the state of Texas, and I would add the state of Arizona.
Yeah, keep Arizona out of this. Mind your business. You don't even know what percentage the federal government is responsible for their border.
Mexico, California, but particularly the state of Texas and Arizona, Tucson in particular, left holding the bag. That's the truth. And I would ask the gentleman from Arkansas if he agrees that the purpose of this legislation is to deal with the fact that we've got one of our colleagues from New York, and we obviously have a colleague from New York here, but unfortunately he's not at the dais at the moment, that is dealing with the repercussions of what they're dealing with in New York. And they're trying to figure out what they're doing with individuals. And now this agreement is struck. And that raises questions from a federal standpoint. And I wonder if the gentleman can expand on that and why it's so critically important to our friends from New York that we deal with this.
You guys got that, right? Just kind of basically griping about a bunch of shit, relatively unrelated, patchwork of grievances, and then ask somebody else to explain how we deal with something because he has no fucking ideas.
Yeah, as I said in my testimony, this was brought to my attention by Representative Malliotakis, who, when she told me what was happening, I thought there must be some mistake. They're not going to build migrant shelters on federal land. Surely there's other land somewhere in the state of New York, because it was the governor of New York that came to the Biden administration asking for help in taking care of all these illegal migrants that were coming into the state because of their sanctuary city laws. So
they weren't coming into the state because of their sanctuary city laws. He just told you, Texas bust a bunch of fuckers up there and dumped them there as an attack on sanctuary city laws. Also, as the state overall and using federal land, by the way, asking for the ability to do that is not weird at all when you have an influx of migrants. We did it in the beginning of the fucking country. Why do you think Ellis Island is exactly where it is, dum-dum?
As you said, it's a fraction.
As you said, what we have here is a failure to communicate.
Of the number of migrants that you're dealing with in Texas, but the local representation at the city, the state, and in Congress are all feeling the repercussions of the actions of
Texas,
the
Texas
mayor, the governor, and the president of the United States in their local area.
What? I'm sorry, the mayor and the governor of the migrants that are coming through the border that are being bussed up to Texas instead of being processed there where all the federal funding goes to handle these border regions. That's why we don't just pass out border funds to states that aren't border states, for the record. But it's the mayor and the governor of New York's fault that you guys are dumping your problem, which the federal government, again, gives you funds to deal with, on their doorstep. I'm not quite sure what you said, so I'm just going to start in on the rest of the bullshit I was saying.
One quick question.
Because I didn't understand any of that.
If I'm correct, in March of 2021, early in the administration of the current president, you and a colleague of yours of ours from Arizona, Representative Gosar, sent a letter.
Oh, yes. Good old Pervitin Gosar.
Secretary Mayorkas about the environmental-related concerns about the border crisis.
The environmental, yes, because you guys, you wanted to add stuff about border funding to the Green New Deal or some shit?
One of the points raised in the letter was deserts along the southern border being used as dumping grounds and vegetation in the area being destroyed by migrants.
Oh, yeah. All that desert vegetation that's being destroyed by people walking all over the desert vegetation.
First of all, did you ever get a response from the...
First of all, what's desert vegetation? Are these motherfuckers traversing ravines and walking in caravans and fucking flip-flops all the way from Guatemala to sit on a fucking cactus?
Administration on that letter?
No, they seem to want to ignore that.
Because it was silly.
And I think...
And could it possibly be because they actually think you're being sarcastic, ironic, or full of shit, pretending to care about the environment, especially desert vegetation?
I think the statistic I've heard is 8 or 9 pounds of trash per migrant. So multiply that times 8 million, and that tells you how much trash has been dumped along the border. I know you've seen it in your...
Along the border or inside the border on the other side of the country. And again, I would love, here's a good idea. Show us how that works. I don't know why Ted Cruz hasn't been down there with a fucking stick with a nail on the end of it and a yellow vest doing a little community service for fucking off to Cancun while his constituents were freezing to death, including children. Why isn't he getting, he can walk around. I'll tell you what, when Trump gets busted, I'm fine with that dumb motherfucker not going to jail. Just 100% community service. He gets up every day, 8 o'clock in the fucking morning, give him an orange vest to match his stupid orange fucking face and a stick with a nail on the end of it, and he can just pick up garbage at the border, keeping America clean. Make America clean again. Maca.
Area. It's amazing the heaps and piles of trash
The heaps and piles.
that gets discarded when they
Well, of course it gets discarded. It's trash.
come across the border, and some of this is on federal land.
Some of it? Are we talking about the Mexican Federation?
And then you have the devastation that's happening further across the border. We have cartels that are
in the trash business,
growing marijuana on Forest Service land.
What? Marijuana? The reefer? Oh, God.
In California and other places.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of devastation.
So let me get this straight. There's not enough room in Mexico to grow weed, so they're having to do it in the United States. By the way, on U.S. land that is on the southern side of the border.
That's happening to our federal lands directly related to the failure to secure the southern border.
From weed?
Right. I've got a stat here that I was just looking up about.
Yeah, just, but I got it off of, it's from the media, so I don't know how much I can trust.
An conservative estimate showing more than 500 tons of trash being left behind by illegal border crossers each year.
Yeah. I mean, that's where my biggest concern, of course, is that the southern states are going to tip and fall into the Gulf. It's the weight of all that trash.
Here in the Buenos Aires sector out in Arizona, and frankly, that's an old data point. It's not even updated.
Yeah, it's from 1987, and again, of course, that's in 1987 trash, and so because of inflation,
you can go find a more updated data point. But we frankly never.
I know, Dr. 13. This is some of the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Never get really good responses out of the administration when we ask.
Because they're embarrassed by the question. The only it's not proper to answer a question with a question, except in this case where you're like, what?
Questions, because frankly, the administration has no interest in providing that information
because they don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It would be devastating.
But really? It would be devastating to talk about the environment?
And,
Yeah, anyways, I'm sleepy.
The gentleman, you can respond.
What's his name?
From Arizona.
The gentleman from Arizona.
Talks about this being a political point. That the only reason that we're raising this issue is for a political gain in an election year.
No, I mean, I think it's always election year with you motherfuckers.
Well, I've been in Congress for 5 years and have been talking about this under both administrations.
And accomplished nothing.
About the need to do what we need necessary to secure the border. And I can assure you that
But by the way, what would that be? What would that be to necessary to secure the border? What would the details of that be? Hey, here's a good idea. Maybe if we eventually let the trash build up, it'll fill in the parts of the wall. Wait, that'll work. Just let the trash kind of pile up and then talk about a wall that truly represents Donald Trump. An enormous wall of trash at the southern border that will keep migrants out, or at least give them mesothelioma.
There are no crocodile tears here that are not being directed towards the people that are having their lives devastated and turned up.
All crocodile tears are fake tears, stupid. It doesn't, you can't have like real crocodile tears. That's not how it works at all. Talk to somebody from Florida. If you're not scared, they'll dose your drink.
Upside down by wide open borders. And I can assure you that that is.
According to the people that were at the artisan coffee shop that I was visiting in Austin just a couple of days ago on my way to the football game, that they were telling me, dear God, is this skim? I wanted oat milk. Thank you. The world is going to hell. I mean, you can't get anything that's hot. That's hot or whatever. And yes, I would like my scone heated up. Thank you very much. Terrible, isn't it? Terrible. Who you got money on for the game? I mean, tickets are so expensive. I paid $2.15 for a shitty little one up in the stands. What is America coming to? This place is going to hell.
It is not a political reality. And I wonder if the gentleman from Arkansas thinks, your constituents or constituents and people across the country, do you view this as something that is critical from a election year messaging perspective, or a perspective of making sure that our people are actually secure and safe from dangerous cartels, from dangerous criminals, from people that can come in here with wide open borders, from fentanyl pouring in, but also
or guns pouring out of the United States into Mexico.
Just the absolute devastation of the volume.
Yeah, just the volume. Even if they're not all criminals, there's just too many of them.
Just the simple volume.
Yeah, the volume. They're loud. Mexicans are loud. They're very loud. I could barely sleep, and especially like there've been 75 mariachi bands all sneak through, and you'd think they'd be able to hear them with all those instruments, and they never stop playing. Run! They've got the night vision goggles.
If the gentleman wants to respond.
And the bill is about protecting our federal lands. The immigration crisis is mingled in with that.
Yeah, we just, we have to pretend to give a shit about certain things so that we can get the things that our constituents get really racist over. So we don't have enough. You'd think I'd have more racists in my district, but we just don't have enough. And quite frankly, the longer this goes on, the more my constituents they're enjoying guacamole, and they're joking about, wouldn't it be great to have a taco truck on the corner? Not all the corners, but certainly some of them. And then hold on. I started doing that myself in the middle of the night. I woke up, scared my wife to death.
And I was talking about the cartels growing dope on federal lands.
Dope. Yeah. That's the worst kind of.
I agree. I'm a dope.
Yeah, I know. They raised Sean Hannity from a cub.
They also use pesticides and herbicides that you would get thrown under the jail if you were using those for agriculture production here in the U.S.
First of all, we don't throw anybody under the jail for chemical poisoning of almost anybody. As a matter of fact, you might get sued, but only if people can link the cancer or whatever to what you're doing. Potheads are not going to realize that their cancer is caused by the shitty Mexican weed that has DDT on it.
I think about the federal land in my state. If I were to go out and throw 8 or 9 pounds of trash on the ground,
right.
I don't think I would get off scot-free from that.
Yeah, but that's because you're an elected representative. I think people are probably paying more attention.
I don't think any American citizen would, nor should they.
Well, I'm glad you're making that distinction. Yeah, it's good. Good. Congratulations for coming out against litter, not in a truly forceful way that we haven't seen since 1978.
But we seem to turn a blind eye because this is
the person's gone.
Happening with illegal immigrants.
We think.
And
maybe it's an American and you just didn't see them, or is it all just it's Mexican food and you're like, Americans don't eat Mexican food.
Another stat that a lot of people don't realize is that about 40% of the southern border is federal land.
Yeah, but only 1% of Texas's is. So,
and that is true. And again, we have Big Bend, but the vast majority of the Texas border is not federal land. But it's a significant problem.
It is significant. Texas is a significant problem.
Another question about the federal land. If federal lands are now going to be used by the administration as effectively a bailout in order to place migrants from cities that are overwhelmed, then is that not a greater pull factor then for more migrants to come, particularly when...
No, because they're building tents for them on giant parking lots, asshole. They don't like it. Have you... fucking hell. I've seen dozens of reports about how they moved some of the people out of New York City and into these migrant camps until they can be processed because they're only supposed to be temporary anyways. And a bunch of them were pissed and they want to stay in the hotels and that kind of stuff. And to some degree, sorry, but fuck off. Like, if I went to any other foreign country or any of us went to another foreign country and we tried to pull that shit, they just put us in a rowboat and push. So... calm down. You're getting, like 3 hots in a cot and you're being processed. And if you deserve asylum, you're going to get it under this president. So but they're putting these people in these, you know, in these organized, effectively tent cities until they can process them. Yeah, a free rowboat. It is true.
The laws involving asylum, parole are being stretched well beyond their legal intent. In fact, in violation of the law,
not in violation
to attract millions of people to rush the southern border. Will not the placement of migrants who have come here and are being released into the United States, an automatic entry program? That's
not what that is.
The Biden administration has in place.
No, they don't.
Is an automatic entry program.
They do not have an automatic entry program.
That they will be placed onto federal lands. Will that not increase the pull factor of the people coming to the southern border?
Well, I think the biggest pull factor would be people actually believing you that there's an automatic entry system when there fucking is not.
Border claiming asylum and seeking parole.
That's the claiming asylum and seeking parole.
And it seems like everything this administration does is to increase that pull factor. And you think,
really, they're not the ones taking out the ads in South America that the Trump fans are doing, telling people that the border's wide open and trying to create these caravans, what they've been doing since 2017, in an attempt to create a political crisis where Trump could get his border wall built.
This migrant shelter, it has food, housing.
What? These migrants are getting food? How? You mean the tents?
And they do your laundry for you.
And they do your laundry for you. Hold on. Can I show you what the this is what they're talking about. New York to open tent camp for migrants on Randall's Island. This is the federal one. The facility, with about 500 beds for single men, as well as a recreation center and cafeteria, is set to open Wednesday after buses arrive at the Port Authority. Officials led a gaggle of reporters through the 84,400 square foot facility on Tuesday. They insisted it would be more comfortable than existing shelters. Brand new sheets, pillows sat atop a row of cots. The recreation room featured plush couches, big screen TVs, games like chess, Scrabble, and cribbage. Table nearby was full of office phones capable of making international calls. There was Wi-Fi throughout the facility because a lot of people are going to get bumped out of there. Look, they've got, oh my God, we're treating them better than we treat Americans in this hastily riveted together facility. And yeah, you think these people deserve this? These little short people who are children? What a terrible notion. Yeah, that's the facility. That's what they're talking about. It's just amazing, isn't it? It's who wouldn't walk all the way from Guatemala to stay in that place? Isn't that going to just draw people? Yeah.
If that's not a pull factor for people to come here, along with all the other pull factors for people to come here, I don't.
Yeah, that's why they're coming, to get their laundry done for about a week until they can work in a fucking laundry.
Know what would be. And the ranking member talked about, and this is something we heard on our visit to Floyd Bennett, how the city of New York was going to pay the Park Service a lot of money for this lease, and they will be able to reinvest it into the Park Service unit to make the facility better in the future. And I thought, what if a Republican president wanted to lease out some of Yellowstone to some corporation that would pay Yellowstone some money so they could go in and make the experience better for the future? Would our friends across the aisle have a problem with that? But the precedent's been set.
Sorry. This Randall Island is not yellow fucking stone. Nobody's going to Randall's Island for the sightseeing.
Here now in New York, that this can actually be a fundraising exercise for the Park Service to get more funding to make the experience better.
Yeah, once they get a taste of that sweet, sweet migrant money, they're not going to want to. They're going to. The Park Service is going to take out ads in Guatemala
in the future.
I think, but gentlemen, I yield back.
Good Lord. Just like that is the current. And by the way, Chip Roy takes over these fucking meetings all the time. That, honest to God, like he takes over these meetings, and that's what they talk about. Can I do one last thing before I go? Because I know I'm late, but who gives a shit? Can I throw one more thing in there? Because it's the House Parks radio program, Megaworldwide on Saturdays, and then the rest of the week, and then I have 3 morning shows, and I'm on the road, and I'm doing the afternoon show, and I've got a lot of time that feels like a little time, and I'm always crowbarring shit in, and I don't get a chance to, even when, that kind of thing. Is that okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Marshmallow Joker had a statement to make on the floor while his, I guess, loan shark sat behind him. He's making a statement about he's not resigning. He's not resigning. It's time to make a statement.
Madam Speaker, on the matter of expulsion, we are now going down a third attempt for a privilege resolution to expel me from the House of Representatives this
And the third time's the charm.
week. Just introduced one earlier today, and just earlier this evening we had a second. Here's the case in point. In history, 5 members of Congress have been expelled.
Uh-huh. And you have committed crimes worse than 4 of them.
All 5 had suffered convictions in a court. All 5 had due process. This expulsion vote.
Yeah, but can you imagine what a shitty liar you have to be to get kicked out of Congress for lying? Like how easily caught you are. They don't even have to convict you. It's an ethical expulsion. Everybody else had to fucking commit a crime because it was so singular. You're just an asshole.
Simply undermines and underscores
he's an
the
asshole.
precedent that we've had in this chamber.
It's terrible.
It starts and
How does it
puts
start?
us in a new direction, a
It does.
dangerous one that sets a very dangerous precedent for the future.
Yes, I agree.
Are we
Precedent.
to now assume that one is no longer innocent until
Ask that
proven
of you and
guilty,
me.
and they are
No.
in fact guilty until proven innocent?
Oh, that's how that works. I've always wondered. They always say that one way, and then I never realized that you reverse those words and it sounds right again all of a sudden. And then I was like, I got that backwards.
Or are we now to simply assume that
I think we should make an ass out of you and me.
because somebody doesn't like you,
It's more than that. They goddamn hate you. They hate you. It's hate. It's hate. Not just they don't like you. It's ugh.
they get to throw you out of your job?
Well, cancel culture being what it is, you do realize it. You know what? Think of yourself as a book in Florida.
Or better more, does the Constitution bear
Better more? Better more? Better more is a phrase, but better more? Really? People talk like that?
no consequence?
Uh-huh.
Where a duly elected member of the House of Representatives is elected by the general public.
Yeah, under false pretenses when they think you're something you're not, and you get caught out on it using money you shouldn't have had. And never mind. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You're doing a fabulous job.
But then a couple of politicians decide that they don't like that person.
A couple, all of them. What's the difference?
These are all matters and questions that can be brought up. But
They can be bought up, just like you. I think you meant to say brought up, but you said bought up in a weird Freudian slip. Sorry, I changed my face by accident. I was dead for a second. Say that again.
Like that person. These are all matters and questions that can be brought up.
Yeah, they can be bought up. Yeah, just like, I don't know, bullshit members of Congress from the state of New York.
But I'll leave it at this.
Please do.
The process in which the Ethics Committee engaged was incomplete.
Well, yeah, because they didn't really have to follow through. It did take a lot of work.
Irresponsible and littered with hyperbole.
Oh dear, did they use bad names for you? Because I would never allow that.
And littered with biased opinions.
Oh my God, biased. You know, it's the worst kind of bias too. It's the kind where they're biased by the facts. Oh, it's terrible.
The chairman of the committee himself admitted that it wasn't the full extensive process, and therefore.
No, it wasn't. They just went, fuck that guy. They just went, ugh. Ugh. You know what I mean?
Or he couldn't recommend from the committee a punishment or action.
Yeah, he couldn't believe you were still fucking there. He was just hoping you would leave.
Therefore, cheapening the process of the Ethics Committee, cheapening the process.
You're in a double-breasted suit. at a sweater. Don't talk to me about cheapening the process. What are you looking at? Like, don't look at me like that. You look at me first. Look at yourself. Jesus Christ. You look like the Joker's stunt double.
That this country has expected from this chamber.
This body? I think he wanted to use the word body.
Look, it is not a right to be a member of Congress.
As you're about to find out.
The media will always remind me of that every time I talk to them.
Yeah, but they also remind you that you're a liar and you financially committed several campaign finance crimes. I don't know what the order is. Honestly, it could be the first thing you bring up. It could be the first thing.
But it is a privilege.
Yes, and you were about to lose that privilege.
Privilege that you work hard for, and you get elected to Congress as a privilege to represent those who have chosen you.
Those who have chosen you. Bought. I understand what you're saying. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Madam Speaker, I think we can all agree
that you're an asshole. I think we all agree you can fucking go, dude.
That due process matters.
You do realize there's only one person there listening to you. Everybody else has left.
And that we should all be very concerned about,
we're very concerned.
The way that we are conducting this process.
That's right. I'm very concerned that it's not happening fast enough, actually.
I ask that all my colleagues in the House consider and understand what this means for the future.
They do. Like a future without you is what I think you mean.
And to set the record straight and put this in the record, I will not be resigning. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Oh, snap. That was it. Oh, that guy, we missed it. That guy picked his nose in the very beginning. Well, there you have it. He's not resigning. He's not going to leave on his own. You're going to have to make him leave. Suck it up or just suck it. There you go. So, stalemate, ladies and gentlemen, in Congress. No two ways about it. It's just a fact. He's in it to win it. He's in it till they kick him out. And so either, you can look at this two ways. I think it's a sort of a win-win for Democrats. The longer he's in there, the dumber Republicans look, and the cheaper and shittier they are. The quicker they broom him out, though, they lose one more vote, and they only have a 3-vote margin, which is way too fucking tight. My face hurts after doing that bit sometimes. It does, because even though I'm using an overlay, I have to squeeze my face up to make it work. And that's weird. Anyways, I love you guys. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else tomorrow. Very possibly I might do an earlier show before my family FaceTime. I hope that's okay with people, just because I have a flapper show tomorrow night, and just trying to arrange the day is fucking bonkers. So forgive me if tomorrow's schedule's a little bit cattywampus. We get around the holidays, the show starts to shuffle around. It's just how it works, whatever. But so far, I'm looking forward to the footage of the Hunter Biden deposition, which I'm sure we will get in its entirety, right along with all the footage from Jan 6, which I guess is accessible somewhere. Hey, do we have any of that shit? Do we have, is there a link I can go to? Is there, or is it just Congress that's allowed? Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of the other stories that, Trump is in trouble because of his shit with, hold on, the Jan 6 stuff. And Trump's defense, of course, is, and this kind of, we'll end it on this note, is that he never swore an oath to support the Constitution. Donald Trump now says he never swore an oath to support the Constitution, which he has threatened to suspend. That you can't throw him off the ballot because, anybody who engaged in an insurrection or rebellion after taking an oath of office. And in their appeal against the Colorado lawsuit, Trump's lawyers reiterated the wording of Section 3 that it does not apply to people running for president. Trump technically did not swear an oath to support the Constitution. Instead, during his 2017 inauguration, Trump swore to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution which is an oath. That's what that is. The president is not in office under the United States. The president is not an officer of the United States. The United States is under the president. No, he isn't. He fucking sides.
Yeah, because he never took an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, which he absolutely did, and he's an asshole, and that's funny, and nothing short of par for the course from Donald Trump. Yeah. You guys are wonderful. I'll see you later. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for all of our super chats tonight. Thanks for the likes and the thumbs up and all that kind of shit. And I'll see you later. Okay, bye. I'm just saying. Okay. Oh, wait. It's this button? Hold on. This.
I agree. I'm a dope.
Oh, yeah, that's normal. Asshole.
He can do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe it.